If you only saw random clips from last night and thought, okay, it's just a talk show, you missed the biggest part. This interview quietly answered 3 questions fans were obsessing over. Did the Istanbul headlines change anything? What does El Turco's launch actually look like from the inside? And why is Yaman suddenly moving like Spain is the main stage? So in this video, I'll break down what he said on El Hormiguero on January 15, 2026, what's confirmed, what's just talk show humor, and the few details that actually change how we should read this promo week. Subscribe for fast updates without fake drama. First, quick context. Right before this appearance, social media was full of cancelled rumors because of the Istanbul situation. But multiple outlets and the show's own production sources said the plan stayed the same and that he would still appear on the scheduled night. And then he arrives. And the most obvious headline is simple. He speaks Spanish way better than most people expected. Not a few memorized phrases. He's doing full conversation, jokes, timing, and back and forth. According to Spanish coverage of the episode, he said he learned it in about 1 year with an intense routine. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week with a teacher. That detail matters because it connects to the bigger story he kept repeating. Spain isn't a side trip. He basically frames it like a planned move. In the same coverage, he explains that while he was filming Sandokan in Italy years ago, he decided he wanted to live and work in Spain, and Spanish became the dream. And he's not just learning the language in a vacuum. He talks about using Spanish series as training. A funny moment from the reporting. He mentions trying to find La que se avecina on platforms while he was in Italy, but couldn't. That sounds like a joke, but it reveals the strategy. He's building cultural comfort, not just vocabulary. Now let's get into the part that actually blew my mind, because it's not a meme moment, it's a production and platform moment. El Turco being filmed in English. On the show, he doesn't frame it like a simple creative choice. He frames it like a contract fight. Here's the key claim that came out of Spanish reporting of the interview. He said the series was originally intended for Disney Plus Turkey, and that at the time, they basically didn't allow productions in a language other than Turkish. He says he insisted the contract had to be in Italian or English. He pushed hard, they made an exception, and later there was a crisis when Disney's administration changed and realized the series was being shot in English. And his point was, the project was close to being cancelled, but the situation got solved, and he literally says his contract saved the future of the series. Whether you love him or not, that's a strong story because it tells you what El Turco is being positioned as. Not just a Turkish series, but a cross-market product designed to travel. And it also explains why this week looks so calculated. Spain talk show plus movie star push plus a lot of clean mainstream PR. Then he shifts into the reality of filming, especially the action side. He says the fight and horse work in El Turco wasn't just learn a choreography and go. According to the reporting, when he arrived to start filming, he had to restart training from zero, especially mentally. He talks about the stunt team and even mentions learning practical things like how to handle the horse and, yes, the not glamorous stuff like cleaning up after it. And that's where the vibe changes. He describes it as physically brutal. Night shoots, injuries, pushing through because they couldn't delay the schedule. He basically says, after El Turco, he feels like he can film anything. Then Pablo Motos asks the classic question, what's harder, action scenes or love scenes? And this is where we get another quote that tells you a lot about how Turkish TV is made. Jaan says he's more used to romantic storylines, so those are easier for him. And he drops the line that many of the romantic series he filmed in Turkey were 80% improvisation. That one sentence is content gold, because it explains why certain Turkish drama moments feel so alive. The rhythm is not always locked to the page. It also tells you what kind of actor he thinks he is. Someone who wants freedom and instinct, not just perfect repetition. And speaking of repetition, the Sandokan references appear again. In the interview coverage, there's a moment where Pablo shows a sword rehearsal clip from Sandokan, and Jaan emphasizes precision, making it look real without hurting anyone. Then the interview goes into one of the most unexpectedly interesting actor problem-solving stories. Improvisation not as style, but as survival. In the Spanish reporting, he describes a period during Urkencicus where he had vision problems. He says he was basically not seeing well and it was a suffering, so instead of stopping production, they incorporated it into the character, including him wearing sunglasses. Whether you've watched that era or not, that's a serious behind-the-scenes detail. It shows how productions sometimes patch real-life limitations into story choices, especially when the machine can't stop. Now let's talk about the segments that went viral because they're funny and very El Hormiguero. One big running gag. Pablo basically can't find a flaw, so he jokes about whether Jaan was ugly as a kid. Multiple official recap pieces repeat the same punchline. Jaan says he was ugly only when he was born because he was born with a lot of hair, and he jokes that his father thought the doctors mixed him up with another baby. They also do the classic makeover gag. Glasses, fake teeth, the let's make you ugly thing. And Spanish reporting even mentions a moment where they compare him to a young Pedro Sanchez as a joke. And then there's the science segment with Marin, which honestly became one of the most shareable clips. They create a 3D printed milk labyrinth, pour milk into it, and use soap to break surface tension so color moves through the maze. That's official recap wording from Antena 3's coverage of the segment. So if you want to build a strong video out of this, here's the clean structure that actually makes it feel like news, and not just a clip reaction. Start with the question everyone had. Was he still going to appear after the Istanbul headlines? Confirm it stayed on schedule. Then hit the shock moment. He learned Spanish in 1 year with a brutal routine. Then the real headline. El Turco nearly got cancelled, and he claims the English contract saved it. Then the value section. Action training, injuries, why romance scenes are easier, and the 80% improvisation line. Then end with the fun stuff. Sandokan sword precision, the Urkencicus sunglasses story, and the hairy baby joke plus the milk labyrinth clip. Now the final piece. What does this mean for the week? It means Spain isn't treating him like a random guest. The appearance is positioned as mainstream promo tied to a platform release, and the interview gives movie star audiences a reason to see El Turco as a big event title, international scale, English language, action training, and a star who is actively integrating into Spanish media. And the most important practical reminder, because scammers always move fast during launch week, don't fall for fake free stream links. If you can't find it in your region, wait for official rollout info instead of clicking sketchy sites. Alright, your turn. Comment your country and tell me 2 things. Did you watch El Turco yet? No spoilers. What was the most surprising moment from this El Hormiguero interview? The Spanish routine, the contract story, the 80% improv line, or the behind-the-scenes training? If you want fast updates on Yaman, El Turco, and Sandokan, subscribe and turn on notifications.